everybody. Welcome back to the Dual Screens podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Fontana, and with me, as always, he's in that other box. He's Andy Asimakis. How you doing, Andy?
I'm feeling entrepreneurial.
Oh,
today.
That's a big word. That is an SAT word. Please use it in a sentence other than the one you just said.
I would like to be entrepreneurial most of the time, but I'm too lazy.
Okay, the ending of that sentence. So. Yeah, okay. All right, so you do have a very good understanding of the word entrepreneurial. I'm very proud of you. Joining us this week, Raresh Cindeza, I think I got that right, and Ioana Sopov. Let's nail it. There we go. Gummy Cat Studios. You got to do it. You got to do it slowly. Because we're dumb Americans. Gummy Cat Studio, developers of Bear and Breakfast. That's right, you heard that right. Bear and Breakfast, a laid-back management adventure game where you build and run a bed and breakfast. But, of course, you are a bear. Welcome to the show!
Hi!
Hello. This is exciting.
That was the best intro ever.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited for this because the second we saw this, I don't even remember where. Was it the Humble? Was it Humble?
It may have been at the Wholesome Games.
Yeah, the Wholesome.
Where it came across my desk, but I was like, this is already game of the year, whatever year it comes out.
Any year. It's the game of any year. It's any one of these years coming up. It would be the GOTY. For those of you that are new here, including our guests, this is the Dual Screens podcast, the world's and the internet's #1 indie developer interview podcast, hosted by two people you've never heard of, probably. The show posts each and every Friday for your listening pleasure on your podcast service of choice, including our home, podbean.com. And of course, we're on everything else. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, your sister's ass. We're everywhere. I'm telling you, we're everywhere. Anywhere where you can get podcasts, we are there. And of course, the video version on youtube.com/DualScreensTV. And if you want to support us with your hard-earned cash dollar bills, as little as $1, you can go to patreon.com/NDS podcast. And we want to thank our Patreon producers, Colton the Apprentice Nestler and FNH Paul and Vegas Girl on Fire. We cannot continue to grow without all of your support. So thank you so much for supporting us. We love you very much. And now, Andy, we're going to go right in here. We're going to get some marmalade. We're going to wake up, wipe the crust out of our eyes, get some coffee right here. Nice. And we're going to serve up some delicious questions.
We are.
Hit us up with our first question here, the appetizer, as it were.
This is a bit of a multi-pronged attack here.
Oh, attack. So okay.
We need a proper setup first. Okay?
Just bear with him.
Yes. So
the first of many bear puns.
Yes. Yes.
More to come.
Speaking of bears, our main bear is named Hank. Okay.
Correct.
So, yes or no question.
Okay.
Even though I think the answer is going to be yes, but we'll see how it goes. Does Hank the bear have any shame?
I suspect where this is going.
I think you do a little bit.
Interesting.
Let's just say yes. Hank the bear does have shame.
So Hank has some shame. So Hank has a little bit of shame. So Hank represents what I like to refer to as the Donald Duck conundrum.
Okay.
He is a bear that is wearing a hat. Yes. And his cohorts, one in particular, who is a cat or a fox or some sort of feline four-legged thing, is like fully clothed. Is like dressed to the nine, has like a jacket, some sort of summary dress thing, shirt going on.
Right.
So is Hank walking around completely naked to his other forest friends?
Well, actually, that is a choice that you as the player get to make.
So I see. Okay.
Actually, you can project your own level of shame absence of on Hank and choose to be buck wild. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, because Donald Duck wears a shirt, no pants.
Yeah.
So does Yogi Bear.
Wait. Yeah. But when he goes in the shower, has the towel around his waist.
Right.
So that's the conundrum.
Right.
What are we trying to hide here, people?
This is a can of worms I didn't think we were going to open at the top of the show, but you know, we're here. We're here now.
This is what happens when I play a game for the first time.
I have a deep question here. Was it? What were you slapping yourselves in the forehead that you didn't have the foresight to name the studio Gummy Bear Studio?
That's an equally good question. Well, actually, Gummy Cat was chosen just because the URL was free, and I was like, "Wow, how did no one make Gummy Cats for sale yet?" And how did they not snatch this up?
How long before our first cat-starred game out of Gummy Cat? Gummy Cat Studios, cat and well, let's see. Let's think about this. Cats. I have had cats my whole life. I know they are particular assholes. So they're not running a bed and breakfast. What kind of cat DMV? That's what they would run. The Department of Motor Vehicles. Just that's what I could imagine a cat running.
It's called Catastrophe.
Catastrophe. Yeah,
Catastrophe.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
They do something bureaucratic for sure.
They are definitely.
They'd have to display their indifference somehow.
Thankless, loveless job where they're in control of everything that the customer goes in. Anyway, let's get back into focus here. What is Bear and Breakfast? Let's get into the nitty gritty here. Tell our listeners, if they don't know what Bear and Breakfast is, what is it? What kind of video game is it? What are the players doing?
So Bear and Breakfast is a, well, I can read off the internet, but I'd like to kind of
I want to know from your brain. Yeah,
just
I want to imagine that I'm at a show because
that's correct. Well, you are on a show. I don't know if you know, it's called the Dual Screens Podcast. It's on youtube.com/DualScreensTV every Friday.
Very happy to be here. Bear and Breakfast is a management adventure game where obviously you play as a bear that's trying to run a B&B and be like a nice host and take in people and give them a good time, taking their money, and then being able to do that in this, capitalistic hell that we live in.
Sure.
And that apparently they also live in.
Yes.
And there's no direct comparison because we're kind of mashing a bunch of themes and a bunch of styles and genres. But we kind of take a lot of inspiration from games that we grew up on, and some of them older games, like there was a game called Theme Hospital that I really loved growing up as a kid. I think they made like sort of a spiritual remake called 2 Point Hospital, which is also really cool. And there's like some games that were really influential on us. For instance, from a story or just narrative perspective, is Night in the Woods, which also animal protagonist, things like that. There's a little bit of that in there. Yeah. Less so games like Stardew Valley, for instance, which is more like life sim, trying to grow out something and find relationships and grow relationships with people in the village. There's a little bit less than that. We focus more on just going out, exploring, meeting interesting characters and taking in their story, and then the management part where you actually have to run the place and get good reviews and earn money and stuff like that.
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of Spiritfarer in that way, where you're kind of just meeting these very interesting characters, and just that leaned a little bit more heavily into like their individual stories, and like those became the proverbial carrot at the end of the stick. But like that's kind of what it reminded me of, is like these whimsical characters that you're just getting to know, being a good any good host or hostess or whatever, whether it be a bartender or whatever, your local family that runs the inn, the local inn or whatever, they all know a lot of people and they remember everyone.
Sorry, no mean to interrupt, but specifically about Spiritfarer, it's very interesting. I read or listened to an interview with them, with the creators. Initially, their game also started out with, you just ferry people, or in general, like these amorphous blobs, sort of like a business. And then they realized, well, no, the interesting part is telling the story of the creatures you meet, the spirits you meet, etc. And we went completely the other way. We kind of reached that same impasse at one point, and we were like, do we want to care about the guests actually, or do we see them more as, you know, parts of a factory, I guess? And since we are animals and these are people, there's sort of like, we have a little bit of liberty to be like, well, all people are bad, or all people are crap, and like you get to make them comfortable if you want to, or you get to not make them comfortable. You just, you know, give them the bare minimum, just give them a room and a bed and
bare
nothing
minimum. Yeah. We need a tally or a counter for the bear puns until this is over.
Now that we know what this game is, what are your roles in helping bringing this game to life?
You go first. No, me? Okay.
Sure,
I am the lead artist for Bear and Breakfast. I handle all of the visual stuff that goes into the game. I don't do everything, but I like to say that everything kind of passes through my my computer before going into the game, because we do collaborate with some other artists, some freelance animators and character designer, lovely, amazing people. And I kind of pull everything together and also do a lot of the environment stuff and the technical implementation of the art in the game, and make the game. My tagline is I make the things and I put them in the game.
That is lovely.
That's what I do.
She is solely responsible for the absolute beauty that the game is right now.
It's very nice.
In terms of environments and everything and all the objects, it's incredible. And I I'm officially called the game director. I do a lot of trying to steer the ship as much as possible. I'm also the company founder, but the company exists for the game. Right now, it's kind of, you can kind of equate the two. And I wear a lot of hats, like you kind of have to do in indie games these days. And I'm the UI designer and the UI artist. I also am a narrative designer and writer on the game. I also do a bunch of marketing stuff, like social media posts, not by myself, but some of them at least, and everything else that's not really glamorous in indie game life, like business development and things like that.
But they are a necessity. One might call them the bare necessities.
Number 3.
How long until it gets unbearable?
I had a question before the pun came in, and then whatever. Andy, you go. It's gonna come back, but the pun kind of, there's only so much room inside the brain for stuff. You know what I mean?
I feel like I need to address something before it leaves my mind.
Okay, I got it.
Is over.
Okay.
That is, why is there so much garbage in this forest?
I think
Yeah.
I think it's because a lot of this game, a lot of the setting, like the world, is inspired by a lot of what me and Raresh have seen throughout our lives in Romania. And it's just kind of part of the it's a part of the experience, because I think so. Romania has all of these very beautiful forests and a lot of very inspiring scenery, and we have like the seaside, the mountainside. A lot of the environments in the game are very directly inspired by things that I've like taken photos of on trips around the country. And you see these beautiful landscapes, and then you look a bit closer and you see all of this garbage piled up, and all of these like former communist tourist complexes that are abandoned and in disrepair. And that's just kind of like the local that's the local vibe, the local aesthetic of the place.
No.
Yep.
Yeah, Steven,
Yeah.
Coney Island is cleaner than this game.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, Coney Island has trash cans. We at least put those there. So I remember the question, and this is something that we get, that I hear a lot from developers. Why is there a specific UI artist? Why is the UI always separated from the rest of the art? And I don't want to say always, but a lot of the time you hear, oh, I do all the art, oh, but I don't do the UI. Well, why is that?
It doesn't have to be, but it requires a specific set of skills that it's easier to explain by explaining our background a little bit. Both Ioana and I used to work in advertising before this, like for a solid, I don't know, 6-8 years or something, where there's kind of
like 10 on my part.
Yeah, a lot. Too much. There's kind of a very clear distinction in there where you have a graphic designer that does graphic design, you have an art director that's sort of more of a jack of all trades, and you have an illustrator who obviously does illustration, and all of them like can probably do what the others do, but not as well. And it's sort of the same in game development. Just because I have a art director / graphic design background, I think a lot more. Like, for instance, I've done a lot of prints, as in printed books or magazines and things like that. And you have to, there's a lot of science and things you have to learn, grids and placement and where your eye goes and how you read things and how you, all of that, which sort of translates into UI design, user interface design. There's a lot of actual science that goes into user interface design as well. But if a lot of the time as an artist, most of your skills have been honed towards, you know, figuring out good line art and practicing that and practicing color and color theory and whatnot, and figuring out how to render stuff so they look beautiful, etc. Maybe you haven't really gone in all of the areas that I guess art can go, especially on a technical level. So in our case, obviously, I could do what Ioana does, but a whole lot worse. And Ioana could probably do the UI just much better than I could do the rest of the art. But it's nice
it wouldn't be fun to use for the player. Probably it would have a lot of structural issues.
The UI has a lot of functionality to it.
Exactly.
Whereas movement and fluidity of the characters, while it serves a function, it's not a gameplay function, as it were.
Yeah.
It's a lot of information that you need to convey to the player, so it's just easier. You're thinking of it less as a piece of art, but more like a technical aspect of the game. So it's more like,
before
would that be
before
accurate?
I make any pretty things appear on screen in terms of UI, I have a bunch of wireframes, like just black and white, boxes upon boxes upon boxes.
Right.
Like, why do you go here? How does this expand? Does this need a scroll wheel? How much content will there be here? Will there eventually be enough content that it, can be bigger than the box? Should I make the box bigger, et cetera, et cetera? There's a lot of technical things that have to go on top of, you kind of have to test it out, or at least guess as well as you can how the player will kind of interact with this. Does this placement make sense? Will they know to look here? What do other games do? How are players kind of educated so far in using these things? And that can take a lot of the fun out of doing art for some kind of artists. For me, it's very fun. For Ioana, it isn't.
Yeah,
so,
no. I would rather do anything else.
Well, that was a very specific game dev question, but it's a question that I've always wanted to ask and I always forget to ask. Andy, let's get back into Bear and Breakfast.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, speaking about technical details and gameplay, what does the core gameplay loop look like in this game? How are we creating and running our B&B?
So initially, one of the sentences that I used in like the very first pitch for the game was, imagine it's an RPG, but the cabin is the character, and you're adding things like, imagine that the rooms and the furniture are sort of like the equipment.
That just clicked. Wow. Holy shit.
That used to be the case, but it gave us some interesting problems, and we had to kind of scale back a little bit. Traditionally in management games, there wouldn't be like a character that you control to then also kind of set up the management part. And that's a big issue we had. And traditionally in management games, you'd have level 1, kind of simple, level 2, a little bit more complicated, level 3, and gradually introduce things. We didn't want to have that. We just wanted to have a cabin that you gradually unlocked not a cabin, a sort of resort with a couple of cabins that you just gradually unlocked and were able to use more and more space to kind of build more and more room types. And like you start off with bedrooms, but you then have to give them bathrooms and dining rooms and kitchens and whatnot. And to answer your question, that's kind of where we are now, where since we also have the adventuring part, we kind of wanted to marry the two things and also do levels. So now it's no longer just one resort with multiple cabins. You're actually going to have a few areas, and in almost every area you're going to start off with a small dinky shed maybe, and you only have access to bedrooms, and you're taught this is how bedrooms work. I'm sure you know, but this is how they work in this game. Make a few, have guests come over, earn X amount of money, move on to the next one. And eventually what we want to happen is reach that multiple houses, multiple stories, like dozens of rooms going on at the same time, maybe close to 100 guests flying in and out, and having like sort of like an ant farm sort of vibe where you're constantly making money and fixing problems and things like that.
What kind of problems do you show up? Like, what are the things that you're going to have to fix as your bear here?
So first off, the main thing you have to look out for is how you initially build the cabin. You can build rooms, and then you can control all of the objects you place in those rooms. There's objects that are mandatory. They're like, well, a bedroom requires a bed, obviously. A bathroom needs a sink, a toilet, and a shower, for instance. But then everything else that's decorative, that's kind of up to you. And guests will come in and they'll ask, I want this level of bed. I want a bed that's this quality. Especially in the first levels, they won't really want much, but later there'll be guests with bigger expectations that want a very nice, comfy bed, and you'll have to provide them with that bed if you want to get, the money and the good score and whatnot. So that's the first aspect. You have to build bedrooms that have all of their levels and items appropriate for the guests that you'll be accepting, because you get to pick which guest goes in which room. So there's a little bit of strategy involved. You can make a room that's really pretty, that's really, really nice, that's really good, and you get to pick like the highest grossing guest out of a list of the queue of people that want to live there, and you just go, you stay in this room, you're taken care of, everything is nice.
The
and
VIP suit.
The VIP suit, exactly. And then for everyone else, you can just make like a 2x3 room with just a bed and maybe a light if you're generous and whatnot.
Yeah.
Just,
the rich keep getting richer. You hear this, Andy?
Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering, what does a bear need money for?
What does he do? Have to play the game.
That goes into spoiler territory a little bit.
Because I'm just gonna do a quick setup here. You're a bear, and then you meet some old lady who is like, "Oh, help me restore like my rundown, decrepit shack and make it like into a money maker." And the bear, they don't speak. It makes bear noises. It literally says bear noises on the screen. So they don't understand each other. And now it's like money is involved. So many layers.
Tank doesn't worry about the money as long as he can make the next piece of furniture and the next room. That's all he cares about.
Why wouldn't he just eat the old lady?
Because then he doesn't get to run a bear and breakfast, man. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of work.
He's got vision
for a paper that has no meaning to him whatsoever.
I mean, it lets him
fulfill. At least so I think. It's a guy in a bear costume. I figured it out.
Calling it now.
I figured it out.
I'm pretty sure one of the first, like very, very first paper pitches before like just talking to friends was like, oh, what if you had a bear run a bed and breakfast, but the guests were the breakfast? Like
that was
I
remember that.
Oh my
original
goodness.
ideas. But you saw us on the Wholesome Direct. I think you didn't see us on the Wholesome Direct.
Left turn there.
No, I feel like there's like a chance for like some Halloween DLC content at some point. And then
there you
go. Do a spooky take on this. Like now you just eat the guests. That's a mini game.
Do you get to go on a salmon track, like a, what do they call it? The salmon run? The salmon
run.
Sitting at the little waterfall and trying to catch salmon? Is that a thing you do? How do you get food? How does the bear get food for his bear and breakfast? Where does the breakfast part come from? Do you just order it? Does he just order stuff from like a local distributor? Is he going out there hunting for stuff? Like, what's happening here?
No, it's usually scavenging. There's things that you find by just scavenging, exploring. I mean, it's a woods. You find a lot of stuff in the woods. And there's also shopkeepers. We don't put a lot of emphasis on this part specifically. Like, we found out that it can get kind of frustrating to have to oh no, my guest will go without food, so I'm not going to earn money, and it feels like it snowballs into a bad thing. So we make it pretty easy to find basic ingredients to just make the basic kinds of food. Right. And then later it's more like a strategic choice, because you also have shopkeepers that can give you access to, like, for instance, you can't really find butter in the woods, but you can get to buy it with the money you've earned from other guests to hopefully make even more money and snowball in a positive way. We used to have fishing. Like, I really wanted to put in fishing because I wanted to flip the script on all of these life sim games and the fishing mini games, which sometimes were infuriating for me. I absolutely despised the fishing mini game in Stardew Valley, even though a lot of people loved it. It was very infuriating, especially at the start. And I wanted to kind of make a little bit fun of those kinds of mechanics by just making a mini game where you slap fish or something out of the water like bears, bears do, instead of having a pole and everything. But I'm not completely sure we'll be able to fit it in for the 1.0 launch. Might be DLC.
What does a fail state look like in this game? How bad can things get where it's like, sorry, you're just a bear, you should be running a business?
Go back to the woods.
I don't know if I'd call it a fail state. We are also kind of chill just because I'm part of why I want to make this game is because I know a lot of people who would be into these sort of management games, because there are areas of your brain that get a lot of satisfaction from just having a little bit of, caring for something like this and putting things together like this. But then there's some innate stress to it all, trying to always make sure you do better and better and not fail and whatnot. And I wouldn't say there's a real fail state. It's more like things will be slower the less care you put into things, the less care and attention you put into exactly how well and how strategic you are in building your places up. You'll just earn less money over time, and you're not really going to go bankrupt or anything, but it's just you're going to progress slower. So if you get bored, the best way to do that is just pay attention to what the things do and then learn the things and try to improve like the scores you get and things like that.
Ioana, as a artist, you've drawn many things, and I'm sure you've drawn many things that did not make it into Bear and Breakfast. Now,
so many things.
Now, I'm sure you have a lot of creative freedom. You said, hey, I drew this thing. I thought this could be in the game. So I'm going to ask you a very specific question here. A question that is asked over the course of probably generations.
Okay.
Does a bear shit in the woods?
Well, obviously, the answer is yes. Where else would he do that? I've yet to draw actual shit for the game, but now that you mention it, I definitely think we should have some.
Does Hank use the facilities of the Bear and Breakfast, or does he also shit in the woods? These are very important questions.
I like to think that he uses the little outhouse that I made for the prototype, and that I'm still very fond of, and that currently has no place in our game currently. But I like to think that he uses the little outhouse. But yeah, like I could definitely draw some little dropping shit. Yeah,
little bear shits.
I think
little poo bear, as it were.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever drawn literal like piles of poo.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that would really... maybe. So here's the thing. Here we go. Now this is going to go to Raresh here, because you're the director of this thing. So the more Hank shits in the woods, the less attractive the bear and breakfast becomes. So you just added a mechanic here to this where you need to teach poor Hank to use the outhouse because his instinct is to shit in the woods. You understand?
I mean, you should write that down.
Write that down. That one's free.
I think you're bypassing the obvious thing here, Steven.
Yes. What is that?
You're adding a new resource to the game.
Oh.
So you're gonna have to incorporate that somehow into.
Like in Don't Starve, when you have to gather the beefalo poop to fertilize the plants.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
It's very interesting that in the span of 5 minutes, we actually right live on this podcast, you went through the exact same sort of mindset we had a couple of months ago, where we actually turned garbage into a currency. Exactly. Going through things like this because we have a mechanic where guests come in and they have a random chance to just leave garbage on the ground, wherever, in the cabin, in the bathroom, doesn't matter. They just leave garbage on the ground and it creates a negative effect on your decoration and whatnot. And you go around picking up the garbage and we realize, well, this feels good in the long run, let's say if you clean everything up, but if garbage keeps piling up, it doesn't feel as good anymore. And we just realized, well, we can just turn it into a currency and let you buy stuff with it. For instance, decorative stuff. That also increases how good the cabin is because it's decoration stuff is better than garbage. Obviously, like it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Please tell me that the thing that you are using this currency for is a raccoon.
Of course it is. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That's the shop.
Yes.
It's obvious.
Because the next step in what Rajesh was saying was that, and we also have this very cute, lovable raccoon character that we had already kind of written into the story. And it would be a great fit for him because he's a trash panda. So
yes. Oh, that's wonderful.
It just makes sense. It just clicked. Yeah.
Oh man, I want to hug this video game. I've never wanted to hug a video game before, but this I want to hug this game.
It's so sweet.
That's weird. That's a weird sensation to have, Andy.
Yeah. Do you ever find yourself like as you're doodling these adorable bears and forests, creating like gameplay mechanics or things in your head that you take back to even say, hey, I was drawing this thing and this idea came to my mind? How much can you input on the gameplay side of things as the artist?
So for me personally, there was never there was never a moment where I felt like I didn't have the freedom to just come up with stuff and then just come to Rajesh and the rest of the team and be like, hey, I had this idea. However, I should mention that this is the first time that I'm working as an artist on a game. And I like most of the time that I spent trying to working with the game was not just drawing, but also figuring out how to translate what I was drawing in Photoshop and other pieces of software into Unity, because that in itself is pretty challenging if you've never done it before. If you aren't familiar with Unity or Unreal or any type of engine like that, it's pretty difficult. So I didn't really get the chance to sort of figure out game mechanics because I spent a lot of my energy trying to figure out how to put the beautiful things that we were creating in concept into the actual game world. And I had to figure out, that in itself was a very big adventure. There were a lot of hoops that I had to jump through to figure out how to there's also this dimension of resource management when you're working in game development, where you can create a beautiful image in Photoshop with hundreds and hundreds of layers and super high res, so you can see it on 8K, super crisp. But you can't do that in a game that's supposed to run on different systems, and it's supposed to run at 60 FPS, and it's supposed to do a lot of things that a static image or an animation aren't supposed to do. So you have to kind of figure out how to take all of that and sort of fit it into these very rigid game development systems. So that's where I feel like the most input in I wouldn't call it game design like mechanics, but how the game works, how it's built technically speaking.
So as an artist, sorry, Andy, you have to figure out the technical aspects of the art as well as just the visual aspects of the art.
Because in larger teams, like in studios and large studios, there are teams of artists specifically in charge of doing the technical art. So taking all the concept art, all the beautiful sketches and doodles and stuff, and figuring out how to put them in the engine and make them look like they're supposed to look. But in a small indie team where each of us wears like 7 hats, we just juggle them every day. I have to kind of take on that role as well as drawing the environment stuff. And there are things that are easy because this is a 2D game. So there are instances when what I draw and how it looks in engine is like pretty one-to-one. And then there are things like the character animations where and I don't want to get too technical, and please stop me if this is getting too boring, but initially we wanted to do it the easy way, where most game devs do it like sprite-based 2D animation. You just kind of draw each frame and then you export each frame and chain them up into a nice animation. We figured out that for us wasn't going to work because of the resource management issue, because we ended up with like really large sprite sheets and stuff like that, and we had to figure out a system to do a lot of characters, a lot of humans that check into the B&B. You know, they have to have their own little outfits, and you have to get a sense that this world is alive and that the people coming in aren't just the same NPC over and over again. And so we had to figure out an animation system that would allow us to do that. And stuff like that can get very complicated very fast. So, yeah.
That's why I don't do anything under the hood of a car, Andy. That's why. that is the exact reason why.
You mentioned a 10-year stint in advertising, and this is your time drawing for a game. What got you into game development? What made you want to make that shift into this whole different sort of career, in a sense?
Well, mostly me and Raresh, we've always kind of talked about this in a way because we're both very fond of games. We like playing games. We like talking about games. And we've worked together for like a few years before we started working on this game. We used to work together on other projects, like we did animations and visual identities for like festivals and stuff like that. And I think that even though it's a really nice industry to work in, like it can be a nice industry to work in, it comes with its own like challenges and frustrations, and especially in a country like Romania, which is kind of still like the industry itself is kind of still growing here, and it comes with its unique sort of sets of challenges to do this in Eastern Europe. And we both kind of kept bouncing this idea around, like, you know, we could totally make a game. Like, you can draw pretty things. Like, I have all of these ideas for gameplay. Why don't we just make a game? And at first it was like this joke that we would be like, oh yeah, sure. We'll just quit our jobs and I won't do freelance and we just make a game, right? And you know, when you say something like as a joke and you say it often enough and it kind of becomes like this actual thing, and that was kind of it. Like, I know it's not a very inspiring story about
it is. It really is.
I changed my career completely after 10 years in advertising. I found my passion for games. No, it was just like, yeah, why don't we just make a game, you know? Like, how hard can it be? Like, little did I know at the time how hard it can be. It's like making the sausage is so much harder than just eating a sausage.
Right. This is very true. Very true.
Yeah.
I think it might be time to transition to our rapid fire section, Andy.
Oh yeah.
And you know where I'm starting with this one. Okay?
I mean, the bear shit woods thing, I think, was the best one. So
well, I mean, it was important. Okay, it was important to me to know.
It couldn't wait,
because it's kind of like when people say, you know, when you go, hey, did you, you had breakfast today? And you're like, well, does a bear shit in the woods? Like, of course I had breakfast. Or is the Pope Catholic? Of course. But no, but in this situation, maybe the bear doesn't shit in the woods, Andy. That's all I'm saying. I just wanted to get down to the nitty gritty there. But I have a question for you. All right. This is a two-parter. You're each going to have a chance to answer this question. Okay. Raresh, you wake up in the morning, you got your coffee or your tea ready to go. You pop your toast in the toaster, push the little lever down, you're waiting for it to pop, and your phone rings. And you look at the phone, and it's a number you don't recognize, but you answer it. You pick it up. Hello. And it is the police. And they have arrested Ioana. What was her crime?
Well, the officer asks me if I can hold as they transfer me to the fashion police department.
Oh, I see.
And tell me that
crimes.
she's been arrested for fashion crimes against just sense and human
common
decency.
decency.
She's assaulting people's eyeballs with her clothing.
You know, he's such a hypocrite. He complimented my mom jeans today. At least I think it was a compliment. I'm not sure, but
it was the backhanded compliment.
Yeah, I feel like
it's not
probably,
really.
Yeah, it was probably. I wanted to believe it was a legitimate compliment.
This is just coming from a person who exclusively wears black t-shirts and black pants and nothing else. Myself.
Some people made a good living that way, Raresh.
Yeah.
Ioana, what was Raresh arrested for?
He turned himself in for jaywalking, most probably.
Jaywalker.
But he's the type, like, he's lawful good to the bone. He would jaywalk, and then he would present himself to the police and be like, "Officer, I would like to report a crime." I was the perpetrator. I crossed that street when I shouldn't have. I'm sorry.
Aw. All right. Yeah. So we know you got a wholesome heart there, Raresh, even though you're a heartless bastard when it comes to fashion sense. Got it.
Yeah, no.
Got it. No tolerance for fashion transgressions. Andy?
Yeah.
Raresh. So let's say that many years from now, Ioana's like, you know what? We made a couple of great games. We've had mega success. I want to transition again and become a pro wrestler. And she has tasked you with naming her character.
Oh.
What do you name her? What is her wrestling name? And
wow.
You wanna get ready because we'll flip it.
Yeah. I'm so thankful for being second. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I hope you received that $20 I've owed you.
I'm just gonna take advantage of her geographical location and just say she'll be the red babushka.
Oh, I like
that's so
that.
Nice.
I like that. It's a little menacing.
A little bit.
There's a funky word there that most folks can't really pronounce or get their head around.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. The red babushka.
Can go like crimson babushka, and it sounds
that's even more menacing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Damn, I wasted my time. I was enjoying your answer, but I'd say let me just think. I'll just take advantage of the fact that you're like super tall and be like the gargantuan ginger or something like that.
Oh, double G.
Yeah, like GG.
Double G.
Oh.
Oh, wow. We're turning. It's not just your head ginger. Your skin is turning a little ginger.
a little crimson there.
Little
Yeah.
crimson.
A little crimson.
I'm sensing a theme here. All right. So here's a quick question. It's very simple. Is breakfast cereal a soup?
What? I'm
cereal
confused.
and milk. Like cereal and milk. Is it a soup?
No. I mean, what? I think I'm having an existential crisis right now.
How technical are we going? How much time do we have? Do we have a day? Well, okay, actually,
I would say no.
The quickest answer is no, because I personally don't heat up the milk before eating cereal, and usually I like soups to be hot, so I
Okay, that's a personal answer. Okay.
But there's also like gazpacho, which is like a cold soup, or avocado cold soup. So I would say no, because it's sweet, and most soups are savory. So
most,
no.
Indeed.
Is there sweet soup? Is there such
I'm sure
a thing?
there is. Some sort of raspberry soup. I don't know.
Right.
The hell do I know? I didn't do any research on these questions. I just like to ask them. All right.
Can I get a bowl
Yeah,
of raspberry
I would
soup?
say no. I would say no.
I don't think these are controversial answers. Like, no,
Yeah,
I
no.
think lands us on a majority
Yeah.
of people's opinions. We're safe here.
Okay.
Garcon, your finest raspberry soup, please. All right. Since Ioana liked having time to answer a question,
No, I shouldn't
Ioana.
have said anything. Okay, yeah. Yes, I'm ready.
I'm gonna search deep down in my soul and conjure up a question that's been on my mind since watching The Office so many years ago. And that question is, what kind of bear is best?
You know what? I know I should probably say brown bear because Hank is a brown bear and we should stand Hank. But have you ever seen a sun bear? They look
What
so
now?
weird.
A sun bear?
Yeah, they look so weird. Like they
You're gonna be
look like
Googling
they
this real quick?
have a hard time existing on this plane of existence. They look like the weirdest things, and I think that just makes them the best ever.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
they're a pair. There are sun bears and moon bears, and they both look weird.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and they're the best.
Very cute, though. Very cute.
Yeah, cute, but in an poor thing kind of way.
What happened to your body? Why is it so oddly shaped?
Yeah,
why
what-
are you like this?
why did the creator wrong you in such a way?
Yeah. So that makes them the best. I just, I have a thing for underdogs.
All right. And Raresh, what kind of bear is best?
Well, ignoring the obvious Office callback, and not just because I don't want to go into the fact that I've never seen Battlestar Galactica. I'm a big fan of black bears. I think black
and that
bears
is-
are. Yeah.
That's the answer.
Oh.
That is
okay.
the answer.
That is
Yeah.
the
Is that the answer? Is that the correct? Do I?
That is the correct white true answer. Yes.
What is a black bear? There we go. Correct.
The
form
best
and everything.
bear.
Oh, now we're playing Jeopardy?
Yeah.
This is a question for both of you as well. You are the newest guest in Bear and Breakfast. What food do you require, and what amenities would you like in your room?
Well, I would like, and I know this might sound a little weird, but I would like a bowl of pasta with ketchup because that is my favorite comfort food. And I know that is controversial. I've heard a lot about it, but that would be like the food. That would be my spaghetti and ketchup meal that I would like. And I would like a hot tub in my room where I could eat the spaghetti ketchup.
I'm not judging you, but I'm very judging you.
Yeah,
No.
it's fine. It's
you
fine.
can-
I know. It's
Judge
fine.
away, but like when I was growing up, I guess like it was too fancy for us tomato sauce.
Yeah.
But my mom always used ketchup for like spaghetti and meat. She never used like Prego or like Ragu. It was like you had the ketchup bottle and you would add some water, and it was like at the end.
Steven is having like a meltdown or something.
Well,
I'm so sorry, but
it's all of his Italian genes wanting to jump out of his body and kill me through this monitor.
look. I
essentially.
have part of like half of my family is of Italian heritage. I know.
I
I've been
actually
judged.
am having heart palpitations right now. Like I'm there are issues right now. Okay.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
What's going
it's
on?
a
I'm
great
having some kind of
conversation
stroke.
starter, though. Yeah. Like,
It's a conversation ender is what it is. That's what it is.
but look, Andy is like a kindred spirit. He understands.
I understand what that's
but
like.
here's the thing. I have context. I understand that Andy is a trash person. I get that.
Trash panda.
That is the best thing, like the best type of person. Trash person. Andy.
Rarish.
Right there. Right there.
Not to endanger Stephen's life or anything, but
Okay.
continuing
Further.
on the having grown up on this sort of thing. When I was little and I used to visit my grandparents, like way up in the mountains in a village somewhere, there wouldn't be like a lot of things all of the time. There would be convenience stores and things like that, so there wouldn't be a lot of candy. What we ate as dessert was pasta that was just boiled and then sprinkled with sugar on top, and that was our dessert. And for me, it turns into a comfort food that I would actually have in a bed and breakfast.
Steven's
I'm crying.
Hello, 911.
I would like to report a crime.
So in the hit movie Elf, when Will Ferrell is having his spaghetti with maple syrup, you went, that looks great.
He was
I was not disgusted. Yeah, I got it. I understood.
I understood.
Okay. I think I'm done with my questions this week.
I think we're back on me, right? We're back on me.
Well, yeah.
Thank you for having us.
They said at the beginning that we would never want them to call us again, but I think the situations are. But
the biggest twist was,
they will never pick up again.
Delete
this
this
is
show.
the last we'll hear.
Hashtag boycott bear and breakfast.
I have a fun question.
Oh, thank God.
Yes. And you could take it in either way. So, Raresh, let's say you could choose a song to play every time Ioana entered a room. What song would that be? So you could go with a song that's going to make her feel good and empowering, or a song that's going to
don't lead the witness. Don't lead the witness.
No, I'm just giving him a nice RPG, like get the pats, you know.
Okay,
because there are two roads ahead of you.
Oh man, that you know how you ask someone what their favorite color is, and sometimes they just forget what colors exist in the universe. Like I am blanking on music right now, but not because of the name, but I would have to say just because of the vibe of the song, I would have to say it would be War Pigs.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, like I really like Nine Inch Nails.
I like that.
You lack. Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
I like that.
They're my favorite
dope.
band. Yeah.
Interesting. Wow, you got a darkness to you.
I like
it.
Spaghetti and ketchup, 9 Inch Nails. You're like,
again, I was trying to forget that.
Well-rounded person.
Just bring it right back up.
I will never let you forget that.
Just bring it right back up. Looks like my wife is trying to escape the bedroom behind me. So we'll get a couple more questions in here, and then we'll get out of here. But
well, I want to hear
Ioana's needs to give.
Oh no. Okay. What's that? Wait. Oh, I have this. I have it.
It's right there.
Goddamn, so much pressure. Bee Gees, Staying Alive.
Okay. That's a good one too. All right.
Because he needs that. Like he
Yeah. No, I get you.
Yeah.
I think that might have been Staying Alive, but I got it. Okay.
Staying Alive. Yeah.
Staying Alive. Yeah. Good times. No, that's good. All right. Here's a quick one, and then Andy will give you. Oh wait, did you give the last one? It doesn't matter. Here we go. Would you rather have the power of flight or invisibility?
Flight, obviously.
Yeah. Duh.
Okay.
It feels like maybe sometime in my childhood I might have said invisibility, but no, flight 100%. Like I can just become invisible by going very far away from you. So flight.
I see.
Yeah, and besides, like I don't want to know what people talk about when I'm not there. So,
yeah. Okay.
I don't want that burden. It's better not to know.
Should I ask one more, Steven?
Go ahead. You could ask one more. Yeah.
Okay. A simple one. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
These heathens put ketchup and sugar on their pasta. What do you think? I mean, I don't even know if okay, because I'm pro pineapple on pizza. Like I don't mind if you put, and Andy's vehemently against it. But now I don't know if I'm wrong, because you're having sugar spaghetti and maybe ketchup is different over there. I don't know, but ketchup here is
it's a specific it's a specific type of ketchup. It's not just like any ketchup. It's Heinz, like classic
Heinz
standard
57.
ketchup.
Yes.
Yeah,
correct.
like that is
the
it.
one.
Yeah, that is the ketchup that you have to have.
There's
Anything else is like
no catsup.
no
ketchup.
no.
Yeah, straight
I
up
don't even know
Heinz.
what that is actually. I don't have that. Yeah.
All right. I don't even know if I want to know the answer to this next question. It is the final question. It is the most important question, but I don't know if I could trust your answer.
I can.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Now, I'm sure you've taken multiple tests in your life. I'm sure you've had a lot of stumpers. Like, oh man, I don't know the answer to this. You have never had a more difficult question in your life. This is by far the most difficult question you'll ever have to answer, and it's not even close. It's not even close. So I want you to clear your brains and really give us the real estate in the old noggins to really think about the answer for this. It's a simple question. It is binary. It is this or that. It is column A or column B. Very simple. The question is, Andy or Steve?
I'm sorry, but Andy understands like the ketchup thing, so
I get it.
I'm kind of like I have like a moral obligation.
You have to know your own. Yeah. Usually garbage just sticks together, you know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
You know what,
QP?
Steve?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do you the disservice of giving you a pity vote, so it's got to be Andy. Sorry.
It is.
All right.
I swear to God.
Right.
I think this whole thing would have turned out very differently.
Yeah.
If we didn't bring
If you didn't eat
this.
trash food.
If the spaghetti thing didn't just come up, you know.
I got it. I understand. Oh, Andy.
Yes.
One of your rapid fire questions would be the perfect scenario for them. Would you rather have spaghetti as hair that continues to grow every day?
Oh, yeah.
Or would you rather sweat maple syrup?
Maple syrup, yeah.
What, you could each choose one.
That is absolutely disturbing.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting body horror tonight, but
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I think that works.
I would say spaghetti as hair. Because like if you would sweat maple syrup, like going to the gym would be really terrible. Like,
also
wearing
delicious,
clothes.
according to Raresh's terrible dessert habits.
It would be delicious, and like I'd be more competitive because I'd have a harder time pulling everything, sticking everything off of me.
You'd have an endless supply of calories, though.
Yeah.
Be like,
Exactly.
But would the spaghetti be like uncooked, like just dry spaghetti, or would it be like
it's
fresh
fully cooked spaghetti. Fully cooked spaghetti.
Oh, fully cooked spaghetti. That's amazing. Yeah, I would want that. Yeah, just carbs for days. And we could join forces. We could make like maple syrup spaghetti.
Are we
dessert.
talking like just the head hair or like everywhere?
Head hair.
Okay.
Let's.
Because I hadn't considered that.
We don't need
like,
no pubic fucking
Pubic spaghetti.
fuselli and penny a la ass crack. We don't need any of that. We don't need any of that. Andy is deep in thought right now. I don't know where he is or what he's doing, but it's scary.
I'm thinking about all those fun details. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to bring us to the end of the show. If you want to follow us on social media, I don't know why you would, but we're at Duel_screens. I am at Batchild27. Andy is at Pants Guy. Our Facebook group is facebook.com/groups/DS podcast. Our Twitch is twitch.tv/Duel Screens streams. Where can everybody find you guys? Where can everybody find Bear and Breakfast? Where could everybody find Gummy Cat Studio? Go ahead, take it away.
You can find everything about Bear and Breakfast at our very convenient website called bear.game. And obviously on Steam, you can just look it up on Steam and on Nintendo Switch. That's where the game will be launching soon in the first half of 2022. And then for socials, you can follow us at Bear Breakfast on Twitter, and me personally at East O'Clock on Twitter as well.
Awesome.
Yep. Oh, and I'm at Grim Banana on Twitter. Yeah.
Grim Banana. I love that.
Yeah,
that's a follow. That's an auto follow right there. Thank you very much, you guys. This was an awesome show. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, viewers. And as always, please be excellent to each other.